We've got the latest injury updates on Bo Horvat, plus honors for Noah Dobson and a full preview of tonight's game against the Edmonton Oilers. All that and more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. We have got a lot to discuss on today's show, but first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, feel free to email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we are happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on X, formerly Twitter, at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on X, formerly Twitter, at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all season long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game, so join me for some instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. Well, a lot of news at practice this morning or Monday morning when the Islanders resumed practice. And the big news and the good news was that Bo Horvat was a full participant in practice at the Northwell Health Ice Center Monday morning. He looked to be in pain leaving the ice in the final minute of Saturday night's game against Montreal. He had a little collision with forward Christian Dvorak of the Canadiens, but Horvat, full participant on Monday, and did not look like he was in any difficulty at all. He basically said, I was kind of uncomfortable afterwards, but everything's fine. I feel fine, and I'm ready to go for tomorrow. That was Bo Horvat in Monday's practice. So very good news for the New York Islanders. And Lane Lambert chimed in, I'm not concerned. He looked fine to me today. So look, Horvat, 12 goals, 30 points in 29 games, 10-game point streak right now, which is a career high, 7 goals, 16 points in those 10 games and looking good. And look, let's face it, especially tonight against Edmonton, the Islanders are going to need Bo Horvat in the lineup. Now, yes, Horvat was ready to rock and roll. He was a full participant in practice, but some other players were not. One of them, Oliver Wahlstrom, who was the player most people expected to step into the lineup if in the event that Bo Horvat would not be able to go. Wahlstrom basically missed practice with an illness. Again, the Islanders don't disclose what the illnesses are, but there seems to be some kind of something going through the league right now, let alone the team. And we know some players have missed practice and games because of it. So Wahlstrom not at practice on Monday due to an illness. Since he's been, a healthy scratch in recent games anyway, only played 17 out of the team's 30 games. Not likely that illness would affect the lineup all that much. And then Kyle Palmieri also out of practice on Monday, but that was due to maintenance. And Lane Lambert did indicate that he expects Palmieri, who has played all 30 games so far this season, to be available for the Islanders when they take to the ice against the Oilers later tonight. And by the way, that's a 7:30 Eastern time face-off, and you can catch every minute of that game, which is an ESPN Plus game. But you can catch the Islanders radio broadcast on SiriusXM. Just go to the SXM app and do a search for Islanders, and you could hear the Islanders announcers call that game, especially if you don't have ESPN Plus. So that's the news from practice. And I've got to say, the best news really is that Bo Horvat is available. And Horvat, we mentioned the point streak. He and Matthew Barzal have really gotten their chemistry together as of late. You can also add Anders Lee to the mix, because Lee has been playing better in the last 2 weeks or so. And boy, oh boy, do the Islanders need that, especially going up against an Edmonton Oilers team tonight that is obviously has a lineup that is filled with gifted offensive players. And look, let's face this also. Bo Horvat, big in the faceoff circle. That becomes important against Edmonton. And he gives this team a certain amount of leadership and confidence. And since the trade, which is now about 10 months, 11 months ago, Bo Horvat clearly now an Islander. Culturally, he's comfortable. His family is here. And it really has made a difference for Bo Horvat. And what he's meant realistically to the New York Islanders. So good news on Bo Horvat. He will remain in the lineup, and the Islanders bite a bullet, because losing him really would have set this team up for a conundrum. And I'm not sure how Lane Lambert would have handled that situation, because if you're missing Bo Horvat, you're not going to be able to play the style of hockey that the Islanders have been playing, which is a little bit more offensive minded than what we've seen from this team in the recent past. And especially against Edmonton, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But I'm telling you, you can't afford to lose Bo Horvat, period, for any long period of time. But more than that, you certainly cannot afford to lose him right now when he's playing his best hockey probably since joining the team, and when he is the catalyst for your power play, for the top line. I mean, Matthew Barzal right now and Bo Horvat have figured out how to make each other play better. And if you don't have that, this team is not going to be able to do what they've been doing in recent games. And you look at the schedule and what they've done. 3 games against goals against LA, 4 goals against Toronto, 4 goals against Anaheim, 4 goals against Boston, 3 goals against Montreal. All of those games, it's 3 or more goals scored. And, the streak goes back all the way to that 1-0 shootout loss to the Philadelphia Flyers, which was Thanksgiving weekend. So realistically, in the last 3+ weeks, the Islanders offense has been cooking, and a good reason for that has been Bo Horvat, Matthew Barzal, and another Islander player who we're going to talk a little bit about coming up in our next segment. So we have got a lot more to get to on today's show. We're going to talk about that honor, the player who has been honored, and what he means to this team. We'll also preview tonight's game against the Edmonton Oilers. Again, an ESPN Plus game, so don't forget that. We have all of that and a whole lot more Still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. And heck, check out the odds for the Islanders tonight as they take on the Edmonton Oilers. You want to bet how well Connor McDavid will do tonight? Check out the player props on him. Or maybe Bo Horvat. You want to bet on whether or not he continues his point streak beyond 10 games. Check out all the odds for all of these things on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. So a little more good news for the New York Islanders. Not maybe quite as good as getting Bo Horvat not being injured and being able to stay in the lineup, but the New York Islanders had the NHL's third star for the week ending December 17th, which was Sunday, and that was defenseman Noah Dobson. In 4 games for the Islanders during that week, Dobson had 8 assists. And, this is an incredible thing because by having that big week with 8 helpers in 4 games, Dobson became only the second defenseman in Islanders history to record 27 assists in the first 30 games of the season. You know who did it first? Some guy named Dennis Potvin, who did it back in 1975-76 when points were a little easier to come by. Not that I'm taking anything away from Dennis Potvin. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. But just an unbelievable performance by Dobber this past week. 3 assists in the win over the Maple Leafs. 2 assists against the Ducks. And then, 3 assists more. Unbelievable. He has assists now in 5 straight games for the New York Islanders. And, by the way, Saturday against Montreal, he had 3 assists. Since the Islanders only scored in the third period, he had 3 assists in that period. And that is the first time an Islanders defenseman had 3 assists in one period since 2007, or at least on the road. So, right now, Dobson just really taking his game to another level. He's first on the team with 27 assists. He has a plus 17 rating in the plus minus, and he's averaging 25 minutes and 33 seconds per game of ice time, including a career high 31 minutes plus in the Friday night overtime shootout loss, to the Boston Bruins. And, the beautiful thing about Dobson is just watching this kid grow before our very eyes. And here's the other thing about Noah Dobson that may surprise you, okay? He has 11 power play assists. That leads the team. He's got 1 power play goal. He's got a game winner. He has 72 shots on goal, which does place him 5th on the team. But what category do you think Noah Dobson leads the Islanders in that would really surprise you? Blocked shots. Noah Dobson has 73 blocked shots. That is 7 more than Ryan Pollock, who now, again, Pollock missed the last 5 games, so that certainly is part of the reason. Alexander Romanov hasn't missed a game yet. He is 10 blocked shots behind Noah Dobson. And if Scott Mayfield and Ryan Pollock were healthy, I doubt that Noah Dobson would be leading the Islanders in block shots. But that's not the point. The point is that it shows that even though Noah Dobson is tied for the team lead in points, leading the team in assists, he has taken his power play quarterbacking responsibilities up a notch since last year, where he really did seem to struggle in that role. But the block shot thing and the plus minus thing are both indicators that Dobson is playing better hockey in his own zone. And we know, Islander fans, everydayers, you know how clearing the puck out of the defensive zone has been a struggle for this Islanders team for most of not just this season, but last season as well. And yet, Noah Dobson has improved in this area. I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, he's fantastic at clearing the puck out of his zone. But compared to last year, he has improved by leaps and bounds in this department. And having him take his game to the next level has been a big part of the team's recent success. And, you know, it's interesting. We get on Lou Lamoriello a lot. And look, I get on him when I think it's deserved. You know, if I have a criticism, I'm not going to hold back. But if I have praise, I'm not going to hold back either. And Lou Lamoriello said before the season started that he is confident that Noah Dobson is going to develop into one of the better defensemen in the National Hockey League, that he was only 23 years old. He still, you know, he had a little bit of a setback last year defensively, but that he was confident in Noah Dobson. Well, so far, and we're not halfway through the season yet, through 30 games, but so far, Noah Dobson is proving Lou Lamoriello right. And the faith that Lou Lamoriello indicated in Noah Dobson is really paying off in spades. So great to see Dobber get that third star, not of the Islanders, but of the league this past week. Well deserved. And it is great to see him improve his game offensively, where he is now more than a point a game player. On the power play, where he has 12 of his 32 points with the extra attacker. And look, let's face it, one thing the Islanders are doing better on the power play is move the puck and move it faster. And you heard me talk about that all offseason, that they need to move the puck quickly and move without the puck. They're doing that more this year, and that's why the power play is 7th in the league. That's a lot of it, not all of it, but is partially due to Dobson. And then to improve his play in the defensive zone and in the transition game, I am not saying that Noah Dobson wins the Norris Trophy this year, but if he keeps playing the way he is he a possible Norris Trophy finalist? Maybe. And certainly if he keeps playing like this all season and next season, you know, a lot of the time with the Norris Trophy, it's more about reputation, and Dobber doesn't quite have on the national scene that reputation yet, although it's growing every game. He really could, for the next 3, 4, 5 years, be a perennial Norris Trophy finalist. But here's the thing about Noah Dobson that Islander fans need to keep in the back of their minds, and I'm almost sorry to bring this up. Noah Dobson under contract this year and next year for $4 million cap hit per year. But that's it. They signed him to a bridge deal. If I'm Lou Lamoriello, I give a little phone call to Noah Dobson's agent and start negotiating an extension as soon as possible, because the price is only going to go up if Dobber continues to play well. All right, we have got a lot more to get to on today's show. We will preview tonight's game against the Edmonton Oilers. Plus, we have our Islanders birthday of the day. And this is a tough one because this player only played 2 games with the New York Islanders during the 1999-2000 season, and they were the last 2 games of his NHL career. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We have got all that and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and their best price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. My favorite feature on Gametime is that you can go on the app and see the view from your seat before you purchase the ticket so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You could take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime, and Gametime has deals right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It is the place to find last-minute ticket deals. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Islanders, Oilers, tonight, 7:30. Game is on ESPN Plus exclusively. So if you want to hear every minute of this game with the Islanders hometown radio broadcast and you don't get ESPN Plus, go to SiriusXM on the SXM app and do a search for Islanders. Look, this is not going to be an easy situation. The Edmonton Oilers have found their game again. Now, they have lost 2 straight, but they did make a coaching change earlier about 3 weeks ago, and boy, did they get hot. They got back above 500 or NHL 500 before losing the last 2, and they're not far out of the playoff hunt right now in the Pacific Division. They still have a ways to go, but a month ago, Edmonton looked dead in the water, and now they're back in at least the discussion of teams who might be able to make a run. And look, we knew that the Oilers have too much talent to be at the bottom of the standings for all that long. I mean, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Evander Kane. We all know these names, but, you know, defense and goaltending has been a problem. Offense was a problem, although they are now back climbing up the standings in the offensive goals for category. They're up to 12th in the league, 19th in goals against. And special teams, their penalty kill is 20th. Their power play is 4th in the league with a 28.4% success rate. And let's be serious here. If the New York Islanders think they can take those stupid penalties that they have taken far too many of this year and give McDavid, Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard, Zach Hyman extended time with the extra attacker, they are sorely mistaken. Draisaitl, 8 power play goals, Hyman with 6, McDavid, 14 assists, Bouchard, 12 assists with the man advantage. That is something the Islanders have to be ready for and cannot allow to happen. And they've got to find ways to slow these guys down. The line combinations, McDavid centering Evander Kane and Zach Hyman on the top line, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Warren Fogle are the second line. Ryan McLeod, Matthias Janmark, and Connor Brown, the third line. And the fourth line, James Hamblin, Adam Ernie, and Sam Gagner. On the blue line, Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci, a very dangerous top pairing. Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, the second pair, and Brett Kulak and Vincent Descharnay are the third pair. The goaltenders right now, Stuart Skinner, Calvin Pickard. Pickard played the last game, so look for Skinner to be the likely goaltender in this contest. And Skinner, 11-8-1 on the year, a 3.04 goals against average, and an 885 save percentage. Pickard has only played 4 games. He's won 1, lost 2, has a 2.99 goals against average and a 901 save percentage. This is an important game for the Islanders. They only had 1 point over the weekend in 2 games. They are now rested. They had Sunday and Monday off. It is time for them to be back and ready to go. Again, 2 straight losses at home against Tampa Bay and Florida. 7-4 to Tampa Bay, 5-1 to Florida. Now they're on the beginning of a lengthy road trip. 6 road games in a row now for Edmonton. The Islanders have to catch them here and get the job done. So let's see how that plays out for the Islanders. All right, time for our Islanders birthday of the day. And this one is a toughie, I have to admit. Anyone who gets this based on the clues I gave, I tip my hat to you for sure. But today is the 54th birthday of former Islanders winger Scott Pearson. Pearson, a first-round pick, 6th overall by the Maple Leafs in 1988, played 9 games for the Leafs in 88-89, picked up an assist, was later dealt to the Quebec Nordiques, then the Edmonton Oilers, Buffalo Sabres, back to the Maple Leafs, and then played for the Islanders for 2 games during the 1999-2000 season. He had an assist and was a +1, ended his career in the minors and spent 1 season in Germany. For his career, only 292 NHL games, 56 goals, 98 points, and 615 penalty minutes, played in 10 playoff games, scoring twice, but none of those postseason games came with the Islanders. His best game as an Islander, and again, there's 2 to choose from, so this one's easy. December 19th, 1999, at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, the Devils come to town with Martin Brodeur in between the pipes, Roberto Luongo, the goalie for the Islanders. So you have 2 Hall of Fame netminders in this one. And in this game, Scott Pearson picks up his final NHL point, an assist on a goal by Olli Jokinen in the 3rd period. It was the game-winning goal, Islanders beating the Devils by a score of 5-3. Pearson playing 15 minutes and 4 seconds. He was a +2 and had 3 shots on goal in this game. So Scott Pearson is our Islanders' birthday of the day. And I like I said, this one was a tough one. I want to thank everyone again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Every dayers, tomorrow on the show, we will have our key takeaways from the game against the Oilers. We'll preview Wednesday's game against the Washington Capitals. And we will probably have our weekly farm report. We may push it back to Thursday, depending on the schedule and how much we've got to talk about. But look for that, hopefully, on tomorrow's show. Until then, stay safe, everybody. Have a great day. And, of course, let's go Islanders.